Welcome to 305 Live session number 4. We're doing placement shooting. Regardless of what type of shot you're taking, you have to place the ball. The first thing we're going to talk about, you have to be able to see the open spots in the net and not the goalie. So when you look at the goal, right, and you have a stick in your hand and you're about to shoot, what are you looking at? Are your eyes catching the goalie or are they catching the open spaces? They should be catching the open spaces. So a great way to work on this is to try a little exercise. You're going to put your finger in front of your face, or you can, if there's a goalie in there, you can try and look at the goalie, but you want your eyes first to focus on your finger. And then notice that when you're focusing on your finger, everything else behind it is a little bit blurry. All right. But now if you put your finger in front of your face and you focus on what's behind your finger, the open spots in the net, your finger gets blurry. Okay, your finger is acting as a goalie right now, right? So my point is that you want to see the open spaces and you want the goalie to be blurry. You don't want to see the goal, right? Because then you're more likely to throw it at them. So you want to work on your eyes catching the open spots in the net. To be a good shooter, you have to have good stick work. You need to be able to shoot in different types of situations, whether that be out here and trying to aim the ball, being tight. If you don't have good stick work with both your right and left hand, you're not going to be a very good shooter with your right and left hand. The better your stick work, the better your shooting. So jump right in. The fundamentals, you have to make sure, one, your arms are set. That means looking like this. If you look like this, and I went over this in another session, T-Rex arms, this is not good. And you're not going to be able to aim very good. You're not going to get much power. You want to make sure that your arms are nice and big. We'll do a couple checkpoints here. One is that my arm right here is almost at a 90-degree angle, and then my arm right here is again almost at a 90-degree angle, so it's back, and it's also back behind my head. We'll go over this in a second, but what it actually looks like is kind of a baseball pitcher. Their arm nice and big to start. This is where your hand should be. Okay, so if this is where I'm holding the ball, I can put the ball right on my stick, and now my hand on my stick is in the exact same spot. You're holding your stick in the sweet spot of your hand, right in between where your fingers and your palm meet. Okay, so you're holding it with not your fingertips, but your whole finger, not your whole hand. Okay, you don't want a death grip on your stick either. You want to make sure that a good grip on your stick with your fingers so that you can see my palm, right? So my palm is open, I'm holding it with my fingers. This is checkpoint number 1, that my hands are in the right place. Next, I want to make sure, one, before I shoot, I'm seeing the cage, right? I want to make sure I'm seeing the open spots in the goal and I'm trying to put the ball there. Once I see the open spots, right, kind of simultaneously, I'm going to start shooting, all right? I want to make sure that my power is coming from my core first, okay? So I'm going to take a step towards the goal and twist. This twist in my hips is going to help power. So you want to make sure your stick is back, stick not like this, not good aim, right? You want to stick straight back. We're going to come like this and come over. As the motion of my core is creating power, so is the motion of my bottom. I'm gonna punch forward just a little bit. Our butt end can point where we want the ball to go. That's always a good tip, whether you're passing or shooting. Go boom and boom. As we're pulling down, our top wrist is snapping. Wherever you snap your wrist, that's where the ball's gonna go, okay? At the end of the day, no matter what you do with your body, all these things are gonna help you. What you do, where you point your toe, where your hips are pointing, where your shoulders are pointing. That all helps you get a better accurate shot. But at the end of the day, where you snap your wrist, and that's where the ball is going to go. You can also look at your follow through, which is where your stick ends up. If your stick ends up high, the ball is probably going to go up high. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Swag Lacrosse. I'm going to use a bunch of their balls here. They have all different kinds of cool colors. I really love these, especially if you don't have grass and you're on like hard pavement. These balls don't bounce. So they're the same weight as a regular lacrosse ball and they're soft. So especially with training, if they get hit or something, it's not going to hurt as bad. And I have my signature lacrosse ball. I'm going to use a ton of balls for shooting because I want to get a lot of reps in and not have to chase the balls as much. And also helping with that is Smart Pack Stop and my Lax Dog in there because I don't have to go chasing behind the cage when I miss. We'll get into a couple drills. First one that I want you to work on is if you can't throw a ball with your hand properly, you can't throw a ball with your stick properly or shoot properly, okay? So I want to make sure that everybody knows how to throw a ball with their hand. And what that should look like is a nice, again, what I said before, 90 degree, we're here, we step, we turn, we throw. That should be what your throw looks like. I throw a bunch of these balls at the goal just with my hand, right and then left. And I'm gonna really work on my form of all the things that we talked about. I'm gonna aim for, let's say, the top left corner. Again, it's all in the wrist. There we go, top right corner now. So as you'll see, when I step, I'm gonna point my toe right where I want the ball to go. Pointing your toe helps because once you point your toe somewhere, your hips will tend to follow, your shoulders and your arms will tend to follow wherever your toe is pointing. So that can really help you with your toe, twist, throw. Okay, and again, at the end of the day, it's all in your wrist. We'll try left hand, okay? My left hand isn't gonna be the best, but that's okay. We're gonna work on it, right? Left hand, the same way I did with my right, okay? It's gonna feel really awkward, but as long as you're doing it fundamentally correctly, you're snapping your wrist, the ball's gonna go where you want it to, and then the more you do it, the more used to it you'll get. And I would say do as many reps as you feel like you want to. I mean, you can do at least 20 with each hand or more, but I think that really helps making sure that your aim and your form is on point. Once you have that, you can do one of two things. You can go right to your stick in your hand and just work on standing and doing the same thing and aiming. All right, the other thing you can do is start on your knee. I really like to do this because it takes your legs out of the equation. It kind of just really makes you focus on your upper body. If my hips are facing forward, I still have to get my arms back and set in the right position. It's gonna feel really weird, but that's what you wanna make sure you do so that you're pulling through. Then you can go to one leg up, okay? My left leg is up, it's in my right hand because it's as if kind of I'm stepping with my left foot, right? My arms are back. This allows me to twist a little bit more, get a little bit more power, and then I'm twisting and pulling. I'm gonna go for, let's say, top right corner here. All right, so notice where I'm snapping my wrist, where I'm releasing the ball. Okay, now we're gonna go for top left corner. Notice how I'm releasing in a different spot now. My wrist is snapping in a different spot. My stick head's gonna be pointing at a different spot, okay? Ready? Notice how I'm checking my stick every time. After we do that, we do the same thing with our left hand. Those were high shots. When we shoot low, high shots are a lot like a pass, right? When you shoot low, you have to make sure that your release is different, that you're holding onto the ball a little bit longer. Shoot low, I'm still setting up the same way. But what will help is if I push up my top hand just a little bit, raise my stick, it allows me to hold onto the ball a little bit longer and then snap at the last second. Okay, so notice the difference in my release is that I'm releasing high or I'm holding onto the ball, holding, snapping at the last second, right? So pulling back, I'm gonna lift up my top hand a little bit to shoot low. All right, and I'm gonna snap low. That was bottom right. Do a couple, I'm gonna use my Swax Flex balls, all different colors for the other direction. Back, step, flex. After we do it on our knee, then we want to get up and stand. It helps if you have a partner. Let's say a partner has a bunch of balls and you'll stand here and they'll just reload your stick. You'll step, turn, shoot. Reload, step, turn, shoot. Say at least 10 in every corner. Same thing with your left hand. You could also add in midway shot. You're going to want to shoot on this off stick side, right? So you can work on shooting mid shots, what would be hardest for the goalie to get, right around here. With the Swax Flex balls and the signature balls, we have on my website, click the link in my bio, you can see a bunch of discounts. They also have a power weight. So this guy right here can attach to your stick. And this would be great for practicing shooting also, okay? It goes right on your stick like this. You latch it on and it creates some weight to your stick and it helps you really gain some extra strength and control when you're working on these fundamentals. Having some extra weight on there is really great because then when the weight comes off, it's gonna feel a lot easier. A few more drills that you can work on your own or at practice, okay? You're about to shoot, what are you looking at? Are your eyes catching the goalie or are they catching the open spaces? They should be catching the open spaces. So a great drill to work on that, catch, turn, and shoot, okay? So you can do it by yourself too. You can just stand here like this, catch, turn, and let your eyes catch an open spot. What's great is to have somebody behind the net pointing at a spot. So that way when you turn, you have to see which spot they're pointing at. So as a coach, I like to stand behind the cage. I'll get real low and I'll point. One corner, maybe that corner, or that corner. The player or the ball, they turn, they get their eyes around first to catch that open spot, and then your hands will follow. Okay, so let's say that there was a coach standing behind the cage and they were pointing at that top right corner. I'm gonna turn, catch, and shoot, okay? So it's really fast. You're working on your eyes catching the open spots of the net. Let's pretend now they're pointing at the top corner. So I'm gonna turn. All right, so I want my head to get around as fast as I can. And then as soon as my eyes catch the spot, I'm gonna pull and shoot and really keep my fundamentals in mind. The third drill you can do, again, with either a partner or a coach, is calling out numbers. So I always like to label corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at the hip spots if you want, but we can go through just those numbers and have somebody call out a number for you as you're going to shoot. So at the last second, maybe we're standing and they're just calling spots, or maybe we're getting to a little bit more an advanced level and we're running. While I'm on the run, right before I'm about to shoot, they call a spot. So we'll do this. Ready? 2. Actually, that was 3. Okay, so we gotta remember your numbers. Ready? 3. Okay, so at the last second, your partner or your coach calls out a number and you have to adjust at the last second. Those are drills that really work on realistic reaction time, having to catch the open spot in the net and shooting. If you're by yourself and you don't have anybody calling those numbers for you, you can do the best you can to kind of imagine it, or just pick a spot at the last second. Maybe challenge yourself, whatever your eye catches first, put the ball there. But a drill that can really help you work on it is around the world shooting. Okay, and this is great to challenge yourself. I used to do this in basketball, and it's great in lacrosse too with shooting. So what I mean by that is we're still going to keep our spots in the net, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can't move on to the next number until you get the one before it. So if I start with spot 1, I can't move on to spot 2 until I get it at spot 1. I go 1, right, and I miss, so I have to shoot there again. Good. Now I can move on to spot 2. Miss. Got to do it again. Good. That's spot 2. Now 3. Ooh. Pipe. Let's try 3 again. Oh, pipe. 3 again. Good. Now 4. Good. Now back to 1. Okay, so you can do as many rounds as you can. Challenge yourself even more. You can try and get at least like 3 to 5 or 10 in one spot before you move on to the next one. We're not going to get a ton into faking right now, but faking is really important, but it doesn't have to be like any big fakes. You don't have to do, there's the hitch fake, and you can try and fake low to high and different things like that. But really what's most important when it comes to shooting is just being deceptive with your body language. Okay, so even if you don't happen to throw a fake, it's just important to make sure that you're not totally giving away where you're shooting. So if you're gonna shoot low, don't run up to the goalie and just like daggerize at that spot and then do this and get little and go like this, or drop your stick. Like literally, if you're the goalie right now and I'm coming at you and I start going like this, where do you think I'm gonna shoot? Low, right? Or if I come at you and I start going like this, where am I gonna shoot? Probably up that way, right? It's just too obvious. So if you can just avoid being completely obvious where you're shooting, that will really help. It's really just about your body language. But before you get into faking, if you're just working on the fundamentals of shooting, I would first make sure that you can shoot really well, accurately, and then you can get to the next level. This is for all levels. When I was coaching, even at the Division 1 level, we would go through these fundamentals, even at practice, making sure that our form is correct, that we're doing all the right things, each little thing correctly. So that way, a live practice, a live game, we're doing it the right way.